Once upon a time in the heart of Greenwich Village, an artistic haven, there were two best friends named Sue and Johnsy. They lived in a cozy little apartment together. Both girls were artists and loved to paint. They were known for their creativity and their strong bond. In November, a cold, unseen stranger, whom the doctors called pneumonia, moved through the community, touching some people with its cold grasp spread through the town. Johnsy fell sick from this pneumonia and had to get bedridden. Sue cared for her friend with all her heart, but Johnsy's condition got worse. As the days turned colder, Johnsy's hope began to decline. The doctor told Sue that Johnsy's only chance of getting better was if she wanted to live and fight the illness. She always looked out of her window and noticed a tree with beautiful leaves. The tree had leaves that were turning yellow and red, falling one by one. One day, Johnsy started counting the falling leaves outside her window. Johnsy began to see this leaf as a symbol of her own struggle. She believed that when the last leaf fell, she would die. She counted the leaves as they fell, and each time one dropped, she felt closer to death. Sue noticed that Johnsy always looked outside the window. She asked Johnsy what was bothering her. Johnsy said that only 6 leaves are left on the vine, and they are falling quickly. A few days ago, there were almost 100 leaves, and counting them gave her a headache. She explained that when the last leaf fell, she believed she would also have to go. She had felt this way for 3 days. Sue thought this idea was silly and didn't understand why Johnsy thought the leaves were connected to her getting better. Sue said to Johnsy that the doctor had said you will get better soon. Sue asked Johnsy to promise not to look out the window and to keep her eyes closed while Sue worked on her drawings, hoping to sell them to a magazine. She wanted to use the money to take care of Johnsy. While Sue worked, Johnsy lay in bed with her eyes closed, waiting to hear when the last leaf would fall. And says, "I'm tired of coughing all the time and seeing you work so hard to help me. Don't worry and try to sleep." Sue said to Johnsy, "I am calling Behrman to be my model for drawing." Behrman, a kind old man who lived in the same building, Mr. Behrman heard about Johansy's illness. He was also an artist but had never achieved success. He was known for always making excuses and never finishing his great masterpiece. So, Sue went to Behrman and explained the situation. She told him about Johnsy's belief that she would die when the last leaf fell, and how it was affecting her health and spirit. Sue hoped that Behrman could talk to Johnsy and maybe convince her that there was still hope for recovery. He cared deeply for Sue and Johnsy and wished he could help them. One stormy night, strong winds blew through the streets, and rain tapped on the windows that night. As Johansy's condition got worse, Sue watched the last leaf on the tree. She felt that Johansy's life was connected to that leaf. The following day, Johnsy said, "Are the leaves gone now? Sue, can you open the curtains so I can see?" Sue opened the curtain from the window. She saw something surprising happen. Even though most of the leaves had fallen from the vine, one single leaf remained. It stayed there despite the wind and rain. When Johnsy saw the leaf still hanging on, she felt a spark of hope. She realized that if the leaf could stay strong, she could also fight and recover from her illness. Johnsy found hope in this sight. The doctor came and said that Johnsy is showing the will to live and will recover soon. Sue said, "Thank you so much, doctor." The doctor mentioned that I had bad news. Mr. Behrman, their neighbor, had been brought to the hospital after being outside all night in the rain. He got sick from pneumonia that he could not survive due to his weak health. The doctor said his hands had paint on them. I'm not sure. But he was out in the cold and rain all night. Was he painting something? Then Sue took another look at the remaining leaf and had a sudden realization that it wasn't fluttering in the wind. Tears silently streamed down her cheeks as she mourned the loss of Mr. Behrman and the sacrifice he had made. After discovering that Mr. Behrman had gone out that stormy night to paint the leaf on the wall, he had given his own life to bring hope to Johnsy. His act of sacrifice touched both girls deeply. Johnsy's strength began to return, and she started to recover from her illness.